Hi guys, happy Saturday. I'm just jumping on here quick. I won't take much of your time. I'm asking something of you today, and that is that you hear me out all the way to the end of this video. I'm going to be providing some information, and what you do with that information is 100% up to you. It's none of my business. I just ask that you hear me out. Everything going on right now with the virus, there's so much uncertainty and unpredictability, and it's anxiety inducing, and we're living through history right now. What's been great to see though is how people are so focused on taking care of their family, their friends. They're looking out for the vulnerable in the community, and it's so great to see the good people that are still living among us. There's also some very brave souls who do get forgotten during times of crisis like this, and that is the nonprofit organizations. As we're shifting into survival mode, if we haven't already, lack of toilet paper, hint, hint, we're not looking to necessarily be making charitable donations that aren't exactly connected with the virus itself. And, we have a friend. And people might actually start pulling back from donations and sponsorships because they're trying, it's self-preservation, and that is 100% logical, and it's completely understandable. However, at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that these nonprofit organizations are then impeded from providing the services that they've promised. And the people that they're helping, who have already suffered so much, are likely to suffer even more. And the reality is, as bad as things are here right now, and even as potentially bad as they could become, our quality of life, the benefits and the privileges that we still will have, far outrank what women around the world. There's hundreds of millions of women around the world that even in our worst crisis, they still don't have what we have. And this is hard to say, it's hard to hear, but these women, these girls and children, they tend to get forgotten even during the best of times. So how much more are they going to get forgotten during a global crisis? So they really are at risk as well. And I want you to know, I'm coming on here to tell you that I understand that this timing sucks. The timing for me to be coming onto a platform and saying, hey, by the way, there's some teen moms in Kenya who are leaving a maternity home and they're about to transition back to their homes with their babies, and they need sponsorship support. It's a rotten time to be sharing with people that Mercy House Global, in an unprecedented decision, has had to cancel their rescue operations because they don't have the funding. It's a crappy time to tell you that Mercy House promised hard-working mothers around the world that they would connect them with customers. And without buyers, it affects their ability to put food on their table. It's a really inconvenient time for me to be sharing this information when we are in crisis mode. And yet someone has to raise their voice for these girls, because if we don't, who will? I shared in my post on International Women's Day that hundreds of millions of women out there are denied the basics that we take for granted. And what they need from us is our prayers. They need our support through sponsorships or supporting nonprofits that are on the ground. They need our business, and they need our voice. And again, I understand the timing of bringing up something like this. And quickly, I'm going to share a personal story to give context to when I say that I understand. My cat here is chomping on my fingers. Now we have a dog. Okay, there's a dog attacking my cat. Oh, he's up a tree. He's fine. So in 2017, hi doggy. We were going through a financial crisis of our own. And when I say we were going through a crisis, I mean I had $11 in the bank account, and I was out of diapers, and I was out of formula and milk, and our car insurance payment was coming out the next business day. And my husband was driving a truck in the States, and I was raising my two boys in diapers up here by myself. And during that time, we were already doing 2 sponsorships, one for Girl with Mercy House and one for another organization. And during this most inconvenient time, when I was selling our possessions to cover bills, a young man named Marco showed up in my driveway and was asking me if I would consider sponsoring a third child. And I kind of laughed because I thought, I've got this. Like, there's no way I can do this. So this is going to be a cinch getting out of this. And, I told him, I'm already sponsoring 2 kids. And he's like, oh, that's great. Can I show you some pictures? And he told me how he'd grown up in a Central American country and he was a sponsored child himself. And he's living proof that sponsorships really do change individual lives. And he shows me these kids and he says, I want you to understand that I'm knocking on doors in the heat today because these are top priority kids. He says these girls are at the age where they're going to begin menstruation and they are at a high risk of being trafficked for sex. And all the excuses and all the immunity I thought I had just kind of went out the window. And in that moment, I knew that even though I had all the reasons in the world to say no, there was no way I was going to say no to him. And here's what I understood in that moment is that I could have said no. Nothing bad would have happened to me. There would have been no guilt or condemnation on me. I could have said no, and Marco would have gone on his way, and he would have found someone else. But the fact was that in the middle of a crisis, when I was broken and I was scared, God gave me the opportunity to help protect a girl from being trafficked for sex. And even though it was going to cost me, even though my mind was racing thinking, what can I sell so I'll have the money to cover this? What can I give up? What do I not need? I had no doubt and I have no regret in taking on that third sponsorship. And after we did that, things actually kind of got worse not because of the sponsorships, but because my husband by the summer was out of work and we went 8 weeks with no income coming in. My CCTV was not even enough to cover our rent. And I prayed, and I found out I was pregnant with our third child right in the middle of that too. It was fun times. But I prayed to God for 3 things. I said, God, may there be food so that my children don't go hungry. May there be rent money so we don't get evicted. And may there be money to cover these 3 sponsorships for these young people in Africa, because you asked me to support them, and I have to believe you'll make it possible. And you know what? 2017 was a rough year for us, and we recovered, and we're fine, but God answered all 3 of those prayers. My kids never went hungry, we never lost our home, and we kept those sponsorships up. So yeah, on an inconvenient time, I'm telling you that Mercy House has several open sponsorships right now, and for less than $30 a month. They need to help these teen moms as they transition back to their home. They need a lot of support, and they need new customers so that they can continue to support oppressed and marginalized women all over the world who just want to put food on the table for their kids and send their kids to school. And Mercy House really needs donors right now because they've stopped rescuing girls as young as 12 out of the slum who are pregnant, who've been raped, who've been trafficked. I promised that I was going to ask nothing more than you hear me out, so if you've heard me out, thank you. And I leave this information with you. Links are below. And if someone decides that there's something they can give, please reach out to me so I can thank you directly.